Hello everyone, Dr. Mark here, and today I wanted to leave a few of the dog food recipes I have found most useful. I have included a whole food recipe that you can use all the time, another food you can try if you think your dog might have food allergies, and I also added a special food you can make up if your dog is sick and does not want to eat his or her regular food. Some of the most popular pet health websites are actually just selling dog food for the big corporations, and the biggest complaint they make about homemade foods is that they are lacking in essential nutrients. That is not true, and I fear that they are saying that to sell more processed food. If they really believed that the recipes out there were inadequate, it would be easy enough for them to make a recipe they felt met a dog's needs. They do not, however, just want you to keep buying their ultra-processed diet that is paying their bills. Many recipes are adequate as long as the ingredients are whole foods with fresh vitamins, and as we have seen from raising our children, as long as a whole food diet is given, you can give a lot of different foods. No animal needs a 100% nutritionally complete food at every meal. That is another one of those fake statements that dog food companies tell you to convince you to buy their food. Homemade recipes may be less convenient, but they're healthier. Processed dog foods have at least 15 added vitamins and minerals on the ingredient list. The reason that those foods need to contain all of those additives is that they are made with cheap fillers that have had the vitamins removed. The biggest problem with homemade dog foods I see is a lack of convenience. There are some things you can do, like preparing the food once a week and freezing daily portions, but there is not going to be much you can do about that. No homemade diet is going to be as easy as just ripping open a bag of dry dog food and feeding the amount suggested. Giving one of those processed diets is not the best thing you can do for your dog's health, however, so I will provide a recipe you can give if you want to feed your dog correctly, plus 2 others for special uses. Recipe 1 is for long-term use. The first recipe is one I hope most of you will want to feed your dogs. It is okay for large and small dogs, and the only reason that companies sell foods for a specific breed is that someone in the marketing department decided they could sell more that way. Yes, making up a whole food will take more effort, but a homemade whole food diet has a lot of benefits and will improve your dog's health. Servings. The total amount in the following recipe is 12 pounds, designed for about a week's worth of food for a medium or large dog, so you can half the numbers if you want to cook for a small dog, or this is more food than you can freeze for later. 6 pounds meat, you can use any cuts for this. I normally get whatever is cheapest, like heart meat, and freeze the meat until I have time on the weekends to mix up a larger portion. 0.6 pounds liver, beef liver is easiest, but if your dog has a beef allergy, you can use chicken. 0.6 pounds kidneys, spleen, and other internal organs. 0.9 pounds eggs, 6 large eggs. You can use more eggs and decrease the amount of meat if that part of the diet is too expensive where you live. 1.2 pounds sardines. Fish are a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, a nutrient that will help with skin quality and joint integrity. You will need about 2 or 3 cans depending on the brand you purchase. Read the ingredients to make sure it is only fish and water, as a lot of the brands are sold in oil. 1.2 pounds fruits and vegetables. It is a good idea to make about 1/4 of this pumpkin, not pumpkin pie mix, and summer squash, and about 1/4 carrots and other vegetables dogs can eat, but they should be blended to make them more bioavailable to your dog. About half of this total can be berries that are high in antioxidants and several vitamins. You can vary the berries by what is on sale, but raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries are all great. 1.2 pounds raw bones. Chicken bones can be used for the mineral source, as long as they are still raw. The birds are only about 8 weeks old at slaughter and the bones are soft. Never cook the bones before giving them to your dog, as cooking will make them brittle and more likely to lodge in the esophagus. If your dog has no teeth or a medical condition that does not allow him or her to eat raw bones, you can use the equivalent weight in eggshells or bone meal. Making up this recipe is easy. You can just mix this up and serve it raw, or mix it in a food grinder and cook it before making it into daily portions that can be frozen. No supplements are needed, but if your dog is having loose stools, you can add about a tablespoon of fresh yogurt to the food each day. Do not add this before freezing the daily portions, as it will kill most of the bacteria that make the yogurt work as a probiotic. There are also several good commercial probiotics on the market, but I suggest you start with plain yogurt or kefir, and if that is not enough, try one of the commercial products before using any medicine. Suggestions for portion sizing. Dogs need to eat about 2 to 3% of their body weight each day, but little dogs eat a little more than that, and large breeds a little less. If your dog is losing weight on this diet or always leaves his food without eating at all, you will need to adjust the portions. Keep track of your dog's weight every week so that he or she does not become overweight or too skinny. Since the food does not contain empty calories from brewer's rice and the other cheap fillers found in dry dog food, most dogs eat just what they need and will not become overweight on this food. Recipe 2 is a diet you can use for diagnosing allergies. The second recipe is a novel protein diet used for diagnosing food allergies. The most common food allergies are to protein sources like beef, chicken, dairy, and lamb, so you need to figure out what your dog has not been exposed to and feed that long enough until all signs are gone. The amount of time this takes varies, but in most dogs, it takes a few weeks, so this is a short-term diet, not something you want to rely on for the rest of your dog's life. Servings. The following recipe is for a dog that weighs about 45 pounds. If you want to make up a week's worth, just multiply the ingredients by 7, but only make 1 day's worth first to make sure your dog will eat the new diet. To make up this food, add 0.8 pounds duck, use the breast meat, the legs and thighs, and the wings. 0.2 pounds, about 3 ounces, duck feet and bones. You need to give about 10% of the diet in bones like the neck or feet. If you give the feet and carcass after the meat is removed, this will be enough calcium and trace minerals. If your dog cannot eat bones, you can substitute eggshells. 0.8 pounds fruit and vegetables. The fruit should not exceed about 2 ounces, and the other 11 ounces should be pumpkin, summer squash, and fibrous foods like carrots. 1 teaspoon fish oil, salmon oil is ideal. Note, you can use another novel protein source, like venison, elk, kangaroo, or even alligator, if duck is not available where you live. It just has to be something that your dog has not been eating. The third recipe I want to recommend is not something you need to make up every day and not something that can be used long term. It is a food for sick dogs who need to eat even when they do not want to touch their normal food. 1 cup ground beef or 1 chicken breast. 1 cup cooked white rice. 1 cup water. 3 tablespoons cottage cheese. 1 tablespoon yogurt. 0.5 teaspoon table salt. Preparation: just take the ingredients and mix them in a blender. The ingredients are more palatable than the normal diet, and most pets, even when sick, will eat this. This is not a balanced diet for long-term use, however, just something to get dogs eating when they do not want to. If your dog does not want to eat, this can also be used as a topper to encourage them to eat the regular diet. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions of foods you have found helpful, leave us a comment. Did these recipes help? Give the video a like and subscribe if you are interested in learning more info about your dog. If you have any health problems, you can leave a question at my Ask a Vet column at yourpetsathome.com.